Good morning. Today we're going to do some exciting science with Miss Sylvia. So what you're going to need for your science experiment today, you're going to need about 3 eggs. You can do whatever you have available, 1, 2, or 3. Next, you are going to need a container to put them in. And I have white vinegar here, but you can use any vinegar you might have in your house that you can spare. And what you're going to do is you're going to pour the vinegar over the eggs until they're completely covered. And then you're just going to leave them. You're going to leave them for about 7 days. Find somewhere safe in your kitchen or someplace where they're not going to get destroyed or you won't spill the container. So you want to keep them safe. And in 7 days, we're going to come back and we're going to see what has happened to our eggs. Immediately, if you take a look at your eggs, you can see some changes already. So you can see that there are bubbles, tiny little bubbles all around the shell of your egg. And that's because your shell is made out of something called calcium carbonate. And the vinegar we poured over them is an acid. And when the acid reacts with the calcium carbonate in the eggshell, it creates carbon dioxide. So what you are looking at are tiny little bubbles of carbon dioxide. Now, after a while, those bubbles go away. And in 7 days, we're gonna get to see what happens. So I'll see you guys in 7 days. Bye. So we're back again, Hawks. It's been about a week since we started our egg-citing experiment, and I have the results to show you today. So in order to show you what I have my eggs in their containers. They're still sitting in vinegar. I've also got a strainer in a bowl just so I can strain the vinegar out of the eggs, a paper plate, and I also brought with me just a flashlight. That way we can take a look at what the eggs actually look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take this and carefully pour it into the strainer. That way I can get the eggs out. All right, there we go. So I've got the eggs here. So if you take a look, it's kind of funny. It's pretty squishy. It also is a little bouncy. I'm not gonna squeeze it too hard, but I'm gonna feel it. It feels like a jelly ball. It kind of looks weird too. So, I'm gonna take my light, I'm gonna shine it right through the egg. So you get to see like where the yolk is. If you can find it, you'll find that little yellow spot. You can almost see straight through the egg. Here's an up close look at what the egg looks like. And if I take my light, I'm gonna make it a little less bright. If I take my light and I put it right on top, see where the yolk is? Notice how squishy this guy is. Pretty funny. What do you think happened to the egg? Remember in the last video in the beginning we talked about how the acid in the vinegar reacts to the calcium carbonate on the eggshell? What do you think happened when both of those chemicals met to make this fantastic squishy egg? While we're taking a closer look at the egg, let's make a comparison. Here's a normal egg, a regular egg. With the shell on, it's nice and hard. And here we have our egg after we've soaked it in vinegar. What are the major differences that you notice? I noticed that this one that's been soaked in vinegar is bigger than the regular egg, and the regular egg is smaller. Also, this one is harder. It has that hard shell, and this one is not as hard, and it's a bit bouncy. If I were to drop this egg, it doesn't bounce. If I drop this one, it bounces a little bit more. Also, the reason why this egg is so much bigger than this egg, it is because this is outside, the squishy outside is what we call a semi-permeable membrane. And what happened when we soaked the egg in vinegar, some of the liquid passed through this membrane into the egg and stayed there. That is a process called osmosis. So this is the naked egg experiment. I'm going to show you some cool things you can do once you have these eggs. And yeah, they are pretty bouncy. It didn't break. Look at that. Amazing. Whoops. Anyways, coming up next, I'm going to show you how to turn the inside of your egg a different color. All right, guys, so what I have here is my vinegar-soaked egg, my container, some food coloring, and some water. We're going to see what happens when we take this egg and we put it inside a container with water. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my water. I'm going to pour it into my container. Then this is food coloring. So I'm going to take 1 drop of food coloring, or maybe a couple, because I want to make this egg super pretty. And what I'm going to do is mix it around, mix that food coloring up in there. And I'm going to simply place my egg, my bouncy egg, into the food coloring. Now we're going to leave that there for a while. I'd say leave it there for about 12 to 24 hours. Come back, drain it, and take a look at what happened. Okay, boys and girls, so this is the results of the food coloring experiment. So unfortunately, the teal egg burst when I tried to take it out of the cup this morning, so I can't really use that one. But luckily, I did a couple of other tests using pink and using purple. So I have a napkin here just in case things get messy, a paper plate to put them on, and I'm going to very carefully remove the eggs from the food coloring, and we're going to see what it looks like. So I'm going to very carefully stick my fingers in, give it a little shake out, and look at that. Take a look at the egg. What do you notice happened? I'm noticing that the inside, not only the outside, but the inside of the egg has turned a very nice shade of pink. Oh, and just like it's from the teal egg, it completely and totally burst. Look at that. There's the yolk. Let's take a look at you can see the pink from the egg white. Let's take a look at the purple egg. So here's the purple egg. The purple egg is very purple, and it's almost kind of like a blue. It looks pretty cool. And there you have it. So you have a purple. So the purple egg became purple through a process we've already talked about, a process called osmosis. And as you noticed, the food coloring traveled through the egg's semi-permeable membrane. That's that squishy, soft stuff around the outside that's underneath the shell, in an effort to equalize the water inside and outside. So inside here and outside the egg in the container, and inside the egg right here. The flow of water through this membrane, that's called osmosis. So water is traveling through this part of the egg. And there you have it, some egg-citing science. Let's move on to our egg drop. Whoop. Hey there, Hawks. Welcome to my backyard. Our next egg-citing experiment should be done outside. If you can't do it outside, I would do it in the sink. I would lay out a mat, old newspaper or tablecloth, something, because it can get a little messy. So let's get going. So for this experiment, or egg-experiment, what you're gonna need is your vinegar-soaked egg, a paper plate or something flat and smooth, and a ruler. We're gonna do an egg drop, but we're gonna do a non-traditional egg drop. We're gonna see how high we can drop this egg before it splats. Now it's a little bit different than a regular egg because it doesn't have that hard shell that cracks open. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and I probably should have worn better shoes, but here we go. So I'm gonna take my ruler, I'm gonna hold it straight up so that I can see it. And I'm gonna start at about the 3-inch mark. Now remember, you wanna use the inch side of your ruler for this. So I'm gonna hold it here. I dropped it. All I noticed was that it bounced. So let's go to 4 inches. Again, just bounced. So we're gonna keep going. 5. Still bounce. 6. 8, 9. Oh, and we got to 9 inches. 9 inches before that one went absolutely splat. So, taking a look at it, now I can see the egg whites and the yolk and the membrane that held all that stuff in. So, now you can see why you should do this in a clean spot or outside. So I got to 9 inches. If you're following along and doing this experiment at home, I would love to hear how far you were able to drop your egg before it went splat. Anyways, guys, just wanted to say thank you, and I miss you, and I hope you are having fun doing these experiments with me online. I hope to see you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, remember, be responsible, respectful, and ready to learn. Bye, guys.